All right, it's power rankings time for week number 2 of the high limit racing season. A lot of movement on the board here after week number 1, like we kind of were expecting to see. For these first couple of weeks of racing, these numbers and these drivers are going to be moving around quite a bit, but once it comes to the midway portion of the season, it's going to be a little bit tougher to move up and down the rankings. So if this is your first time watching the power rankings, this is me ranking the drivers, how they did over the course of the amount of time that has passed. And so we've had 2 races. They occurred at Golden Isles Speedway. We're going to take the results from those races and kind of bring in the past results as well a little bit here, and then put them on the board and kind of rank them how they've been so far this year. So it doesn't correlate to how they are in the point standings, because one guy could have a great first week and then not be very good the second week and slide down the points, but he could have had a decent week and still kind of maintained his points position, but kind of fell down a little bit in the power rankings. So let's jump right into it here. The first driver on the power rankings, moving down 4 positions after week number 1, is Zeb Wise. So Zeb Wise loses 4 positions on the power rankings. He is currently 12th in the high limit racing point standings. He is behind a couple of drivers that are not running full-time with the series, including Kyle Larson and Anthony Macri. He has finishes of 15th and 11th here during this time span at Golden Isles Speedway, so no top 10s for Zeb Wise during week number 2 of the season, and he is now outside the top 10 in the point standings. It was a tough week for the Rudine Racing number 26. As you can see on this board, there was a couple of guys that had some pretty rough weeks as well, including one that is actually not even on the power rankings board anymore. Wanted to mention real quick, Tanner Thorson was 5th after week 1 at East Bay. He is now back in 11th position in the power rankings, and I didn't mention this at the beginning, but we are keeping track of all 17 drivers. We're just putting the top 10 on the board to save time. Now, next on the power rankings, making his first appearance on the board here, is Jacob Allen. So Jacob Allen moves up 3 positions into 9th position on the power rankings with finishes of 10th and 1st over the week at Golden Isles. He is now 9th also in the point standings. It was a pretty good week for Jacob Allen. Obviously, that win was very, very good. It was much needed for him as a driver. And then another top 10. So 4 races so far this year for high limit, and Jacob Allen has been in the top 10 in 3 of them, including a victory. So great to see him having success, and we hope to see him move up the board on this power rankings as well. He's been pretty solid here to open up the season with high limit. Next on the board, and staying right where he was at from last week, so not moving up and not moving down, is Parker Price Miller. So he was 8th last week after East Bay, and he is 8th again here during Golden Isles. 2 top 10 finishes for Parker Price Miller with a 4th and a 9th. He is currently 6th in the point standings, so not too far off of where I have him on the power rankings board. That 4th place finish, I mean, he was solid. There wasn't very much passing in that race, and so that's why I didn't really take that 4th and say, okay, we got to move him up big time. There just really wasn't very much passing. Most of the guys finished kind of where they started at in that race. He was 9th in the other race, and I think he lost a couple positions in that one. But still a good, solid week for Parker Price Miller. He stays 8th after week number 2 with the power rankings board. Moving up 3 spots, or sorry, moving down 6 spots, I should say, to 7th on the board is Cory Day. So Cory Day was leading the power rankings after East Bay with finishes of 6th and 2nd over there, and now he's down to 7th with finishes of 12th and 14th. He is now 5th in points after entering the week tied for the points lead with Brad Sweet. So it was a rough week for Cory Day. Rough week for him, rough week for Zeb Wise, and a very rough week for Tanner Thorson as well. All of those drivers taking significant hits, not only in the points, but in the power rankings as well. And so Cory Day is back to 7th. It was just not a week, and we talked about it already. You know, we talked about it during the race recaps. We talked about it a little bit already in this video. The track was just super tough to pass on. I think the biggest hard charger all week was like 7th, maybe. Up 7, I should say, for Cory Eliason. I think he was 24th to 17th or something, right? There just wasn't a ton of passing, and so that definitely was a struggle for a guy like Cory Day, who had no issues passing at East Bay the week prior. but we kind of got to, add that into the power rankings here. He was 12th and 14th. He started back there towards the tail end of the field, just couldn't qualify very good and couldn't move forward in the heat race as well. So we got to factor that in. So Cory Day 7th after week number 2, taking a pretty significant hit. And now up to 6th and up 3 positions from last week is Rico ABW. So Rico had a little bit of life in him this week. He was 7th and 4th in the 2 races at Gold Miles. That 4th place run was the best finish of the season with high limit for Rico. Has not been on the podium so far in 4 races, which I don't think many people saw that coming. And so Rico goes from 9th to 6th. He's now 7th in the point standings, and 2 solid runs there, but I feel like I'm kind of not moving Rico up and down quite as much as maybe I would have thought, because I feel like my expectations were a little bit higher than what he's doing right now. I thought he would have had a win already. I thought he'd been on the podium almost every race so far. The speed in that car is not quite where it was at in 2023, but I think that they are definitely on the right track. You saw him move up to 4th in that race on Saturday, was making some moves, was making some passes, and kind of was in the race for the lead there towards the end of the event at Gold Miles on Saturday night. So we'll see what Rico can do when we come back in April, but right now he is 6th on the power rankings board, +3 after week number 1. Now into the top 5, and a guy making a lot of moves here is Justin Peck. He goes +5 on the power rankings with finishes of 3rd and 3rd. He was right in the mix for the win both nights at Gold Miles. And Justin Peck was 10th after week 1 with terrible finishes. He was 14th and like 25th or something. He definitely had some bad luck over there, and I kind of factored that in a little bit. But with finishes of 3rd and 3rd, Justin Peck is now 5th on the power rankings board, and he is 10th in the point standings. So that's probably the biggest difference between the points and the power rankings of anybody else on this board. Justin Peck, in my opinion, has been one of the best cars all season long with high limit, but doesn't quite have all the finishes that show that. But finally, he has 2 good runs. Probably should have won that Saturday night portion at Gold Miles, but missed the bottom at a really crucial time and let Jacob Allen get by him. Peck is going to be a factor in a lot of wins and a lot of battles for the win throughout the year. He is now 10th in points, 5th in the power rankings. Moving up to 4th, great runs for this guy as well all weekend long, is Spencer Baston, +3, moves up 3 positions on the power rankings. He had finishes of 5th and 5th. He is now also 4th in the points. Spencer Baston, I talked about it at East Bay, that we needed to see him kind of go into the top 5 a little bit more if I want to see him move up this board, and he did it. 2 top 5 finishes for him. He is just one of 3 drivers now that has been in the top 10 for every race so far, and he has looked really, really solid. With the first night, he drove right by Brad Sweet at the last lap there on the last lap, went by Brad Sweet, finished in the 5th position, and he's been solid. He also had a quick time at Gold Miles, so Spencer Baston, CJB, they look pretty solid right now. I'm very interested to see what those guys will do during this downtime. We don't race for over a month. Does he go with the Outlaws? Does he race around a little bit and keep that speed up? So good run, good weekend for Spencer Baston. He's now 4th in the power rankings and 4th in the points with high limit racing. Into the top 3 and moving down 1 spot. Moving down 1 spot from last week is Brad Sweet. So Brad Sweet with finishes of 6th and 6th over the 2 nights at Gold Miles. He is currently 2nd in the point standings. But once again, just like at East Bay, he's just there. He's not doing anything incredible. He's looking very, very human, I guess you could say, and not really been a factor in any wins throughout the first 4 races with high limit racing. And Brad Sweet now back to 2nd in points. He came into the weekend tied with Cory Day for the points lead, but he will exit 2nd in points, I think 18 behind your current points leader. So Brad Sweet, still solid, still running right there around the top 5, been in the top 10 every single race, doing what he does, not making any mistakes, but just not having that race-winning speed right now, is the driver of the 49. Now up to 2nd in the power rankings, moving up 1 spot to get there, is Brent Marks. So Brent Marks, good runs over the course of the 2 nights there at Gold Miles. He was second on the first night, got by Justin Peck late in the race, but did not have enough time in that race to challenge for the win. He looked like maybe the best car in that race, but like I said, by the time he got by Peck, Courtney was just too far away, so he wasn't able to challenge him. He was 7th on the other night, and now 3rd in the point standings for Brent Marks. He's been solid, just like Spencer Basin and Brad Sweet, one of the only drivers that has been in the top 10 every single race so far this year. So Brent Marks has been a good season so far for him, and he moves up 1 position in the power rankings to 2nd. And we'll see what he does throughout this month off. If he races around home, does he go race with the Outlaws down in Texas and Oklahoma and get himself prepared when we go down there, when we come back to racing on April 9th. And now the final spot on the power rankings, moving up 2 positions and now leading the points as well with High Limit. You probably already know who it is. It's Tyler Courtney. So Tyler Courtney, been very, very solid. Over the last 3 races, has not finished worse than 2nd place. His worst finish so far this year with High Limit is an 11th. That was the first race out. Ever since then, he has not been worse than 2nd. He has 2 wins, nearly swept, nearly got the hat trick, nearly won 3 races in a row. Jacob Allen was the guy that beat him there on Saturday night. But Tyler Courtney has been extremely, extremely good, extremely consistent. And I said it, I think, during the broadcast on Saturday night, that Tyler Courtney right now might be the best car in the entire country when it comes to sprint car racing. Got to win with the Outlaws, got a podium with the Outlaws of Volusia, and he's done what he's done with High Limit so far. He has been extremely solid. He's another guy I want to really keep an eye on over the course of this next month. What do they do when it comes to racing with the Outlaws or not racing at all and taking some time off to regroup and get ready for a very, very busy April? So we'll see what Courtney does, but +2 for him. He's now leading the power rankings, and he's now leading the points with High Limit Racing. So that's all we've got from Week 2 Power Rankings. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think this series is going to be really fun to watch, this Power Rankings series throughout the entire season, to see who's going to make their way into the top 10, who will fall out of the top 10, and who's going to be up front all night or all season long. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Is my Power Rankings way off? Let me know down in the comment section below where you would have some of the drivers. Thank you guys so much for the support, and we will see you again tomorrow for another video here on the channel. Thank you.